What's up, son? We all do things that lead us to greater things based on a lot of the times the role model we had. When I say greater, I just mean bigger. I don't mean better. But a lot of times we magnify what we do based on the role model we had. And a lot of the times, because of just our primal ways, we look towards who might be the physically biggest, strongest, um, most domineering person. And a lot of the times that's the father. That's the male figure in mammals, at least. I know that except hyenas, I think the female hyena is bigger than the male hyena. So happy mother father day to the hyenas. But in human life, we look for the domineering person to be the example, to definitely be the protector, and more than likely to be the provider, and more than likely to be the one who does provide some type of emotional coverage. Even though you're stepping heavy when you expect us as fathers to do all that, but we're growing. However, on a day like Father's Day, I think that all the mixed emotions of being a father they get convoluted because a lot of people did not have a father or a father figure, and they resent that, and they resent that day. A lot of people lost their father either to their father's own vices, misfortune, or old age. Um, a lot of people have issues with what their father might have done to them that they didn't want done. So this day might bring all that back up. A lot of people might be incredibly, tremendously excited because this is your very first Father's Day on the planet. You never experienced this day, and your little baby is like 1 or 0 to 12, 0 to 11 months. So this day brings about a lot of mixed emotions. And everybody, I want you all to peep out the fathers, specifically today, on a day like Father's Day. Not even a day like Father's Day, because there's no other day like it, but on Father's Day. And I want you to be good listeners to the fathers. Even if they're not saying much, I want you to listen to what they might need. I want you to listen to what it is they like, and then make yourself available in a way, or make yourself not available in a way if it's space that they need. But just try to do the right things for the males in the society who have actually done the fatherly duties. So from me to you, to the dads who are doing the good ones, happy Father's Day. And welcome to this episode of Sorry for My Lengua. Come on now. For the daddies. Father's Day, man. It's a day that they don't have no cards in the store. We don't get balloons. We don't get no, I don't know, man. And honestly, what do you really need? You just want a little bit of grace, you know, and for somebody to take you, you know, to the higher ground. When I say the higher ground, I mean somebody just treat you right, knock your socks off, You want something good to happen, but if nothing good happens, you just don't want nothing bad to happen. You don't want people to get on your nerves. You don't want people to harass you. This is the day, man. Go play some golf. Go swimming. Go sit in the backyard. Drink your favorite lemonade. Uh, if the game is on, if the kids are running around, if you always wanted to do this thing, go do the things. This one's for me to you, daddy. Go take your time and do the things, because everybody's not gonna let you. Tomorrow you got to be extremely responsible on top of your shit as a dad. And there's a quiet power that happens with the dad who is playing his role efficiently. And I think that power is respected by some, but it's not even seen by others who don't see the dad in that power role. It just might be seen like this is a guy doing life, but they don't see like all the sacrifices you make from 7 a.m. to out whatever time your kid goes to bed. So once again, man, I just want to say there's something beautiful about there's something magnificent about being a father. There's actually everything magnificent about it. It shows you a level of love and sacrifice. And some people separate the word dad and the word father. Um, I don't know which is which, right? But if you're just like the biological seed spreader, this ain't your motherfucking day, right? If you got kids, but you ain't made breakfast or dinner for them in a while, and it just ain't been you and them with extra time, not like visiting time where you got to go, let's go to the shoe store, let's go to the basketball court, let's do something special. Where it's just you and them, and you're just doing life normal. If you haven't had that kind of time with your child, you have lots of work to do. And for those of you who know, well, for the friends of yours or relatives of yours who know that that's how your life is, whatever facade that you're putting up, acting like you're him, they see that you're not taking care of your kids, you're not him. You're kind of disgusting in a way, but there's room for you to learn. There's room for you to grow. But I want to give this one out to the fathers who are present, rather than spending time for the ones who who just weren't man enough, just weren't fucking man enough. Maybe y'all were too confused and maybe remain too confused, but whatever. This ain't for you. But the other day, man, I got a real good call from an old friend, and he hit me up, and he said, can I just take a minute of your time? And I was like, no, he didn't say that. He said, can I have 5 or 10 minutes? You got 5 or 10 minutes? I just got to talk to you right quick. I was like, yeah. So the phone call started off. And mind you, I appreciate in person first, phone call second. Text and emails are like way down the list of third when it comes to if you really want to communicate. So he made the point to communicate with me. He's talking. And he's like, man, how long have I known you? So I think it's 20 plus years, right? I can't remember the exact date. But he was like, yeah, that's been a long time, man. And he was like, I just want you to know, I appreciate you. I've been seeing how you do all the things you do. I've been seeing how you as a father it's really something special when it comes to, what you've done as a father, what you've done with your companies, and just how you stand up in the community, man. I appreciate you. You're doing a good job. I swear, man, he really gave me what I'm going to say is a man-to-man pep talk, unprovoked, man. He said his objective was just to make people's day better. And, man, it was the most important phone call that I received that day. And I was just like, damn, dude, man, thank you. All I could really do is say thank you. And I wanted to pass that on to someone else because a lot of the times is the person who is supposed to be the forefront of the movement, whatever the movement is. The movement can be survival, or the movement can be vision. We're traveling, we're moving, or this is what I want you to do. This is where I want you to go. To be the person who guides that, it's not a lot of people to pat you on the back, say thank you, hug you, none of the soft things, when it comes to emotional softness, when it comes to letting you know that you exist and I see that, as opposed to I expected that really goes undone. So my homeboy called me and he gave me the convo, and he gave me like just really this wonderful talking to about fatherhood. And to be honest, I had not received that type of attention as a father from a peer, a male peer. I don't know if ever. My son is in his 20s. I don't know if I ever like had somebody really just concentrate and focus on saying, man, I see you and what you're doing is good, man. I appreciate it. Like, I appreciate it just as a part of the community that you playing your part in the community, that you playing your part in the home as a dad. I found that to be more than flattering. It was like, man, it was revitalizing. It really was. And so he did that for me through that phone call. I'm doing this for you. Fathers, dads, I know some of you all live with the guilt of not doing your best. And I saw some of you all live with the exhaustive burden of doing your best. And I just want to let you know, if you're doing your best, you only have to prove it to your child by doing it. You don't have to gram it up. You don't have to be on Instagram. It don't have to be a press release about what you did for your kid. It does not have to be that. The press release, the Instagram, all that doesn't do nothing for the kid, but put them on blast when they probably rather be in the cut anyway, being a child, learning, spending time. You could have a lot of money, or you could act like you have a lot of money. But what your child needs from you most is what they need from you most is a lot of time. So shout out to y'all giving time. I'm gonna say for myself, man, fatherhood is it's the most rewarding experience that I've ever had out of everything that I've done. And it was also the most challenging. It was the one that summoned me to be my best. But as soon as my son's mother told me she was pregnant, at the time I was in my 20s, I told her, I was like, all right, I'll call you right back. I swear I walked around my bedroom about 10 times. And then I called her back and I did the Chris Rock thing. I said, okay, so what you want to do? And you know, her and I had been involved with each other for quite a while, but it was off and on. But we were down enough. We was cool enough where, like, if this is where we are and we're this age, what you want to do? And she was like, I don't know. I'm kind of scared. I think I want to keep him. I was like, hey, I'm with what you with. So, the two kids having fun, it turned into we're going to go ahead and cultivate this life. And we did. And it was an absolutely beautiful experience. And I felt like every day was almost day one because things change so quickly in parenthood that whatever was going on in second grade, that's not what's popping in third grade, behavioral wise. Like just the rate at which kids grow, learn, do all that stuff. Like whatever happened when the kid was 4 months, that's not what's happening at 7 months. And so you just learn quick that this is an on the job training deal that you signed up for. And the training goes on for a very long time, years until it flips. And then it's kind of like not exactly on cruise control, but you don't have to learn everything as fast. And there are some dads out there who are single dads, believe it or not. I do not understand that out of the moms. I don't get it. But some dads are single dads. They take the majority of the responsibility spent with their kid. And, some of them have fairly like lucrative social lives, or they were the ones in the light. And now it's like, nah, now I got to do the basic things with my child every day. And y'all are really appreciated. Y'all really make it click. Y'all make it tick. Y'all make it do what it's supposed to do. And you don't lead with that publicly. It's just like the thing you do. There are some people who say they'd never be a stepdad or stepdads are crazy for raising another man's child or whatever. I've heard that conversation and, I just think that the people who say that, they're not mature enough to understand the transformational properties of love. If you love someone, universally, that person is your loved one. So to raise another man's child, like, I don't know what made you so insecure, but, you'll probably grow to be better and understand that love is transformational. And to a guy, especially a guy with the ego, you think that you kind of, I don't know, if you kind of shuffled around and moved your cards in the right place and done things properly in life, you might think that you're in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing most of the time, until you have the humbling experience of fatherhood. That's something where you strip all ego down and you stand up and you say, today I'm a servant of this situation. It's amazing. It's amazing. It'll take you a place where you probably would not have volunteered to be because it takes so much of you. It takes so much of you to be empty within yourself so you could be full somewhere else. And then eventually that full somewhere else fills you up. But it's a process. And you kind of got to let go of the guardrails of your familiar places in order to do that. Um, I would say that's no less than God's work. Shout out to you, God. Clap it up. Yeah, man. So this year, there have been, well, this calendar year, but really the last 12 months, man, there are a couple of my peers, um, not even peers, man, people like family to me. So I can't really classify them just as peers because we might not share the DNA. But I know people who have lost their dads, good, solid fathers, man. And today, I know it's hitting hard. It's different, right? Some days, now my father passed away in '09, but he didn't raise me. So being close to him on a daily basis or daily conversation, that wasn't really our relationship. So for those of you who had a real cool, tough relationship with your dad, I don't know what it's like to lose that. But I know it could be devastating. And so I have like, man, some people who are going through that. And oddly enough, I realized that one of the gifts of life is living it through its natural process. So one of the natural gifts is to see someone naturally transition to the afterlife. And it's confusing because some of the dads did such a good job making it seem like stability was permanent, whether it was the hierarchy in the family or just the comfort zone. The creature comfort seemed permanent. And we realized that they weren't, you know, they weren't. We were passing spirits, even if it was the passing spirit of a family. We shared time, but they had their own timeline to go on. We got our own timeline to go on. And so I sit here kind of heavy hearted right now because, I know people who are sweeping the pieces together trying to figure out, okay, what does the family look like without him now? Because he just passed away. Lived a grand life, but now he just passed away. And even though you can like financially prepare for that, it's really tough to emotionally prepare for that. It's really tough to physically prepare for that. Like, okay, now what happens with this room and what happens with that? So, man, shout out to y'all keeping it together. We love y'all. Um, Dads, man, we don't we don't get the general commercialized gifts either, but we don't need them. All we need for you to do is respect our time, whether that means you spend real time with us, or that means you give us our space. That's to be communicated. But dads operate off love too, you know. So I just think it's a time to be sensitive instead of a day. And when I say a time, I mean a day to be sensitive to what that person may need. And, you know, not to say it's a day where you got to do everything hand and foot for the person. It wouldn't hurt, but sometimes being the rock in a situation, whether it's a communal situation or a familiar situation, or just, just them being themselves so they don't get, I don't know, taken advantage of or being vulnerable or whatever it is that the man is supposed to be playing. Um, a lot of the times men have to be that because they're not listened to. Nobody cares if a man stubbed his toe. It doesn't matter if that hurt, you know, and that's fair. But I'm just saying on this day, it would be a good day for y'all to listen. And not as if you don't listen all the time, but if you don't listen and pay attention and give, today is a good day to break that habit. Um, the moms who are single moms saying, Happy Father's Day to me, chill out. Chill out, baby. The father gives a whole nother role that the single mom cannot give. But shout out to the single moms, right? But the dad is something special. Even if you're just a child watching a grown man do his thing in shared space, that kid is learning and downloading so much information, so much unspoken spirit that man is giving. That is special. How does this man put on his socks? How does this man smell? How does he make himself appear? How does all this happen? That's part of fatherhood. So part of the fatherhood, man, it's not about the it's not about a lot of the external things that you might want to buy or spend or do all that. That's part of it, but part of it is the kid learns character. They're just learning. They're learning how to move around. And if it's a girl, if you have a girl child, the girl is learning how loyalty works. The girl is learning from the dad how to be treated, what she deserves, how her end of the bargain is supposed to work with his end of the bargain. And even though this is dad daughter, she's still like, if this is how a man behaves, this is what I'm going to look for in a man and no less. Now, for those of you all who are men who are setting the example in front of a daughter of being just like a absentee fuck boy, letting the mom do all the stuff type guy, the daughter will probably level up and find like an aggressive bad boy type because she knows dad was a pussy. So there's certain things about being a dad where you don't know you are teaching the kid who might be quiet about it. And moms, when you pick weak ass men, or you not even you pick weak ass men, when you pick them, but then when you allow them to do a lot of weak shit, the child is learning. They're learning what weak shit looks like, and they're either going to emulate that or they're going to go to the far opposite end of the spectrum to be protected from that. So, just the presence of sets precedent for the next generation. And I know I'm sounding all serious and stuff on this Father's Day, but it's serious, man. It is. It's a serious situation to be present. And I know I don't like this, but I know some dudes who consider themselves breeders. Y'all ever heard of that? There's some dudes who have several children by several different women, and they don't take care of the kids. They just don't. But they feel that the gift that they gave was their DNA because they feel that their DNA was like that. But they do not show up for their children, but they show up like they're the man in their circles. And they do not consider the despair that the child might go through. And this might be because of the static that they had with the mom. But I think, man, you got to fight through that screen. Like if the mom is giving you grief or she's saying you got to go to court or she's saying you got to da-da-da-da-da, man, you got to make peace. You think you got game? You got to come and spell all that game to make it so these restrictions can be lifted or whatever it is could be cool. And you can't be like, but I'm tired of trying to make it cool. You can't be tired of that child who doesn't know because then you create a monster. And you probably grew up as a monster, which is probably why you do this shit. I don't know. But being an absentee dad does not count. That's like you get that's kind of like you just get a failing grade in a certain very important course in adult life. And the reason why you were born, if you fail your child, you fail like a large part of your life test. Now, I'm not saying it's easy, but if you're him, you got to fight through that screen. You got to dig through that pick. You can't let somebody dictate what's going to happen when it comes to you taking care of the child who really needs you. You have to do the peaceful stuff. And you can't really go to, even if it's war, it got to be covert war because you can't shit on the kid's mother because that doesn't make you him either. Then you're abusive to your kid's mom, even if it's just verbally abusive. And not to say just, but when I say abusive, it doesn't mean you put hands on her. So yeah, if she's acting like a clown, don't make it two clowns in that child's life. I had several good male role models in my life, and fortunately, I know what it's like to be a man. I know what good men look like. I know what protectors look like. I know what providers look like. I know the quiet force of a real one. And I do know that a lot of the times the loudest one in the room is hiding something. They're hiding. They're hiding behind all that parade. And so there might be some books, people say, there ain't no book to this. There might be some booklets to show you how to get down as a father, but it's not a lot of them. And they don't pass it out in mass. So this is a wonderful opportunity for me to say, for me to you, happy Father's Day, bro. Happy Father's Day, King. Tell them. And all y'all, man, dating your woman, right? Right? You dating, y'all got this puppy love going on, and y'all been dating for 5, 6, 7 years, and she don't have a kid, and say you in your 20s or your 30s, right? You pushing 20, 30, some of y'all might have dug off into your early 40s or whatever. You dating this woman, you don't have kids, she don't have kids. Man, you better put one up in her. Y'all better have that convo. Don't just think you just gonna be a couple just doing normal shit forever with no kids and that she don't want one. It's very rare. It exists. But it's very rare that a woman wants to live her life without reproducing. And a lot of y'all men, now when a woman gets into like a certain age bracket, then it's like, all right, cool, fuck it, I'm not having a kid. And I accept it, right? But a lot of women in their 20s who are in love and their 30s who are in love, they want to have that baby bump. And if she wants to do that and you think that you don't want to do that, but she really wants to do that, you kind of might either need to get out of her way or you might need to commit to giving that thing to her. I'm just saying, children deserve young, vibrant parents. They do. And you'll appreciate it more because it's them dog days of summer, man. You're going to be sitting at them baseball games in your 50s and your kid is 12. And you're going to be like, shit, I waited too long. I waited too long. You're going to be tired. You much rather spend those days in your 30s, right? So, I mean, it's a way to look at it. And another parent math is to say, the kid, age yourself not where you are right now, but how old will you be when your child is 13 years old? That's how you should age the parenting age. Like when you be like, I'm gonna wait. Okay, that's cool. But how old are you gonna be when the kid is 13? Because that's when they got a bunch of stuff to do, and that's when they growing into their tricky stage, and they're gonna be trying to do shit, and you got to really be on your toes. So you might be like, 39 is not too old. All right, that's cool. Just know that you're gonna be 52 or 54 or 53 when your child is at their most rebellious, trickiest game playing stage, which is fine. But I'm just saying there's something to consider. But anyway, I don't have no more cautionary tales about fatherhood. I'm just saying it's a beautiful thing, man. It's transformative. It makes you understand that the world is bigger than your ego. It makes you understand the true power of love, and it makes you actually exercise it. And it makes you also understand the confusion and cowardice that exists with those who operate reneging their responsibilities of fatherhood. And it's a beautiful space to occupy, man. It's the most important thing that you could do as a grown man is be a good father who is attentive, who will put everything aside for their family members. So to you who's out there and you know who you are, you're doing a great job. I want you to stay consistent. I want you to believe in yourself. I want you to give a good word to your good men today. Those texts are easy to do, but pick a few people who you're going to call, man, and just really give it to them. There are a couple fathers who I actually did learn from. I watched them. I learned from them. I liked how they treated their children. When I was a young buck, I didn't really know how fatherhood went, but when some of my friends had kids first and early, I saw how they treated them. And I really appreciated the relationships that they cultivated, and I learned a little from that. So shout out to y'all. Happy Father's Day. Man, rest in peace, Hoover Lydell. Rest in peace, Larry Emerson Henderson. Good fathers, man. Y'all left a great legacy. And to everybody else who's lost somebody, to everybody else who's gained a new who's gained a new title as fatherhood, today's for you. Keep doing it right. Go to grindstoneuniversal.com and get fresh with the Get Fresh crew. You know, you don't have no crown without a prince. Good job, King. This for you.